All right, we're live. Boom, boom, boom. This is Jared, and I'm back. I'm so excited to go live for Naisha Needs a Kidney. All right, Naisha is my homegirl, and got a lot of respect and love for her husband, and her family. And right now, I've got a guest that I want to bring on live, and we're going to discuss something. All right, that has really been on our mind, and especially Kenneth. All right, I'm going to bring on a guy again that I rub shoulders with because he's part of the United Health Outreach Media Network, part of the family there. Kenneth Sorensen. I'm going to bring him on one moment while I bring him on, do the magic, and bring him over. All right, hold on. Here we go. Kenneth, welcome to the
Hey,
show.
hey, Jared, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks, man. It's great to
Awesome.
have you here. We're going to talk and discuss about uh, organ procurement organizations, right?
You're exactly right. I was lucky enough to I went to an event a few weeks ago, and I reached out to this organization that's obviously based in South Carolina called Sharing Hope South Carolina, and
Uh-huh.
they're an organ procurement organization. So I
Okay.
sent them a message saying, hey, I might want to get involved, and rather than waiting for their next kind of ambassador training session, they scheduled one specifically for me. So that was really nice. And so I went there today, and I learned a little bit more about it, and things like that. And I found it, I found it pretty interesting. A lot of the stats they talk about and things like that are very interesting. And I think all states have this kind of organization. Like
Okay.
in Naisha State, it's called Indiana Donor Network, and what organ procurement organizations do is one of their main focus, as you could tell by the name, is they actually get organs and take them places. So, like in
Mhm.
South Carolina, there's only one transplant hospital. Well, what happens if an organ becomes available in Greenville, which is at the upper end of the state? Well, this
Right.
organization picks up the organ and brings it down to MUSC as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So that's one of their main
Interesting.
jobs. Another job they have is to kind of help donor families, particularly deceased donors, but they help living donors also.
Uh-huh.
And their
Wow.
kind of goal is to kind of make the process as easy as possible for organ donation.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, people that are deceased, donors' families, it's not an easy process, and
It's
so they
not.
try to
No, I can't
they
imagine
they,
it
they
would be.
they try to make it as easy as possible. And because, like, South Carolina in particular is a first person donation state. So what that
Mhm.
means is if I sign up to be an organ donor at my driver's license or through one of the websites that you can do that in South Carolina, even if your family is completely against it,
Yeah.
they still are allowed to the person is still allowed to donate because that was their wishes. Some other states are different, but even kind of going through that, because if people are against organ donation yet I wanted to donate, like, they kind of have to help the family through the process, because it's not going to be easy for them, because that's not necessarily what they want, but it's
Okay.
the person that died. It was their wish to help save lives.
Wow,
Um,
that's interesting. So
yeah,
how does that all kind of come together? How does the deceased, donor's family or deceased donor, him or herself, put together that information for that service?
well, what when it comes to, like, just donating, it's just a matter of signing up, and
Uh-huh.
what happens is this organization, and I don't know the nuts and bolts as well for this because that's not something I'm going to be doing, but
Right.
but they have kind of all the paperwork on it. They go root with the families, because obviously there's some legality kind of things and stuff like that, and also through that process they also kind of help the families.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
like they provide assistance, where they can. They even down to just kind of being someone to listen to them, that kind of thing, because
Uh-huh.
those families are going through a lot, and it's pretty incredible. Like, some of the stats, like, most people know the number that, when someone dies, they can save 8 people's lives. They can
Yeah.
donate 8 organs. In addition to that, when it comes to tissue donation, it's 70 up to 75 people that could be saved from tissue donation or helped from tissue donation. I mean, that's a pretty incredible amount of people that can be helped by donating organs. I mean,
and imagine if okay, that's just one person who donates. Imagine if we increase the amount of people that donate, how that can exponentially increase, the number of lives we save.
Yeah, I was at a meeting recently, and South Carolina actually has one of the better percentage of organ donators in the country. We're at about 53%, which in the grand scheme of things, pretty big.
That's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. In New York, though, it's only about 23%. So there's definitely, and think of all the people in New York. There's 4.6 million people in South Carolina. Yeah. There's more than that, and I think Brooklyn. If you think, there's so many people out there that just either don't know about it or just not, educated, and that's one of the missions of this group too, is to try to educate people and try because people like Naisha and I didn't get a deceased donor, but it saves our lives, and so the more people that donate, the better. And the other thing is, if you go through like Donate Life or one of those kind of forms, to sign up to be an organ donor, you can actually specify, like, the lady that's training me today, she was telling me that somebody didn't want to donate their eyes. For instance.
Why?
Well, I think it's more like a funeral kind. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't make sense to me. But let's say that's one of your issues about maybe donating. You can actually specify those kind of things on that.
Okay.
If you go to the DMV,
on the form, you can actually get specific that way.
Yeah. If you go through the DMV, you can't. That's kind of all or nothing. But if you go through one of those websites, you can specify.
You can't necessarily be that specific. Okay.
That is correct. But if you go through one of those websites, you can. And so I thought that was interesting too, because I had never heard. I had never heard that you could be, a little bit more specific. I'm not sure how it's specific, but I know you can. She used the example of the eyes. So, but I mean, like I know some of the numbers, but in the United States at any given time, there's about 114,000 people that need organ donations.
Yes.
So that's a good amount of people. Obviously, most of those are kidneys.
Huge amount of people. Yeah.
Yeah, and most of those are kidneys, which is something you and I kind of, and about 20 people a day die from not getting a transplant.
That's right.
And the numbers are going up. So every 10 minutes, another person gets added to the transplant list.
Yeah.
Or finds out they need an organ donation.
I've heard that.
So the numbers aren't going down. So that's 6 people an hour. So the more people, we need more and more people to donate. We need more and more people. And I know we're talking a lot about deceased donors right now, but please keep in mind the gold standard for a kidney, and my hospital doesn't do it, but they can also do it for livers too. The gold standard is a living donor. That's the gold standard. Right. So the best way to help someone like Naisha out is for a living donor to go get tested. And I think I can speak from experience. The bond you form with that living donator, even if you didn't know him beforehand, is absolutely incredible. It doesn't get much better than that. I'm actually going to see
about that.
I'm going to see my donator this weekend. I'm going to her church this Sunday, and I'm going to spend time with her family and things like that. Cool. She'll always hold a special part in my life, and I know she knows that. Or how about this? I hope she knows that. But people like that, think of it this way: like, it may be a small imposition on you to donate, but just think about the kind of change you'll make in Naisha's life. You're going to save her life, and I mean, if everything goes as planned, like a few weeks of you being a tad uncomfortable, and I'm not even saying a lot. It's not a huge incision. They most of the time do it laparoscopically. It's very easy, but that little bit of time period, and you can hopefully keep her alive for 40 years. I'm having a guy on my show maybe next week that has had his kidney for 44 years.
What?
Yeah.
Say that again?
44 years. His name is George Franklin, and
44 years?
Yeah, 44 years. Just think.
Wow.
you save,
That is I don't know that I've heard any story about somebody having it that long. What is his name?
His name is George Franklin.
That's right. Okay. Yes. All right.
I think you saw that
right.
on one of the pages we're part of. Yeah.
Yeah. He's been a big follower of Steve Belcher's, and he has commented very frequently. Okay. Right. I remember that guy. Yeah. He's one of the longest tenured kidney transplant recipients, right?
Yes, he is, and it's absolutely incredible. Like that's why I'm interested in his story, because I want to be him one day. I want to be talking about at the transplant group I'm a part of. There's a lady that's had it, I think, 26 years, and that kind of thing.
That's a long time too, though.
And I'm like, wow, yeah, she's one of the longest in the history of my hospital. I think she's the second longest in the history of my hospital. So those people, but I think both of them had living donors. Don't quote me on that, but I think both of them did, because those have a tendency to last longer.
Statistically, you're right. History has shown us that living kidney donors, when they donate, those kidneys from a transplant recipient, those kidneys generally historically do last longer. So it begs the question. Why is that?
I don't know the exact reasons, but some of the reasons I've heard is a lot of times deceased donor kidneys have a tendency to fall asleep, and just the fact, and they do usually wake up, but just that fact that they fell asleep for a little while. The second reason I would assume is when you have a living donor, they can match it more exact, because they have lots of time to do extra tests. Like prior to me, they called me in like January, or actually she told them in December that, hey, I still want to donate. Can you find me a donor? They spent a month or over a month doing tests, because they get blood from my dialysis clinic and things like that. They do tests, that kind of thing. They can do matching even before even after they told me, I had to go a couple times to get even more blood taken to match it even more specifically. And so they can find the literal perfect match when that happens.
Wow. Okay. All right. So I follow you. That does make sense. Yeah. I can see how being a little bit more detailed and involved, how that can help. And there may be some other things, that come into play too medically.
Oh yeah, sure.
That we're just novices, and we don't know the ins and outs. But I can in my mind kind of think how that can come be a benefit. Sure.
Yeah, and I can say in my case, like literally, I mean, my numbers aren't as good as maybe some other people, because I feel like I talked to someone that said theirs after, a long time, their creatinine was like 1.1. Mine's like 1.5 to 1.7, but it's literally been consistent since I got my transplant. So so the doctor's point is that might just be your new normal, which is bad. But I literally have had no issues with blood work or anything like that. There's no sign of rejection. That kind of thing. And I'm on a fairly low dose of all the medicines that we need to take. There's a guy I know that's had his 20 years, and I'm on the same dose of Prograf as he is. And he's had his 20 years, and I've had mine 9 months. And yet again, that a lot of that has to do with kind of just having a living donor and having the right match. And hopefully through like our conversations and the Facebook page and stuff, like, someone will reach out for Naisha. Like, you don't have to know her, you don't have to have any contact with her. And to be honest, you don't even have to be a match.
Not at all.
The paired exchange program is very prevalent right now. It's incredible. Actually, at my hospital and Harvard we're having, and this is before I knew I was getting a donor, had kind of a study where I had to do watch some videos about the paired exchange program throughout. Like, I probably have to do another one, I don't know, in the near future or something like that, just to kind of test like how effective the videos they're coming up with on explaining it are, that kind of thing, because lots of hospitals realize that that's kind of the wave of the future is the paired exchange program.
Where it's trending. I mean, seriously, it's so instrumental in saving multiple lives, and what it does too, Kenneth, and this is what sometimes people don't quite understand, is it actually speeds up the process of people getting their lives saved. Because when we have a chain of donors, living kidney donors, then multiple people are involved, and it speeds up the process where these people, if they didn't have that paired exchange program, okay, would be waiting much longer for something to come to them. And it speeds it up.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, and just think, the chain could have 6 people in it. So one thing could happen, and 6 people could get a kidney all in, within a couple days. That kind of thing. I mean, that's 6 lives saved just like that.
Just like that.
And so incredible. So like, don't think because you and Naisha don't have the same blood type or whatever it is, don't think you can't be a donor. Still get tested. Still find out. People are needing organs, and with that paired exchange program, you may be someone that matches with someone in California, and that person matches with Naisha. That kind of thing. And next thing you know, 2 people are getting kidneys and neither one of them had an exact match.
Right. And in many cases, they never had any sort of connection before.
No, you're exactly right.
They didn't know each other, and they come from different states. I mean, it could be something that really has. It's powerful. It is. I've spoken with people that have started these chains of donor living kidney donor chains. Amy Martin has done that, and she's in Nevada. I mean, it ended up there were like 9 people that ended up getting their lives saved because of what she was connected with. And, and she's actually now still an advocate, and she works with Donate Life in Nevada, and it's awesome. And that there are other people that I've talked and spoken with, and I've discussed it with them, and there are multiple cases where paired exchange program has saved just a multitude of lives. And if they didn't have that, again, they would be waiting far much longer. Okay, they say on an average 5 to 7 years. I don't know who comes up with that average, because most people that I talk, that I've spoken with, wait far longer than that. I mean, it's crazy how that seems like what they tell everybody. It's like a canned speech or something, right?
Well, I think it depends on what region you live in.
Yeah, right.
All seriously, because in my region, because South Carolina has such a high, donor sign-up rate, like people get organs, I guess, a little bit faster than other places. That kind of thing. So it really depends on the region. I know particularly a lot. It seems like out west, it's pretty bad. Up northeast, where there's a high kind of center of population, is pretty bad. That kind of thing. And people don't realize it. That wait is excruciating. Especially, those of us that went on dialysis, like that's just a horrible, you feel like you're almost, I mean, I hate to say it this way, you're waiting to die,
Right.
And I think that people don't I mean, I know it's cliche, and I was talking to the lady about it today. People don't really realize the importance of organ donation until someone they know is affected by it.
Right.
Or they
Once
are
they're
affected by it.
connected somehow, whether it's a loved one, a friend, or someone, maybe a coworker, then it starts to kind of register, and they understand it and get a glimpse of it anyway, a glimpse of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and yet again, I can't fault them. That's not,
No.
I mean, for the most part, we don't have a tendency to study things unless we need to,
Right.
or learn about things unless we need to. And so, but one of the good things about it is, like you and I are into it, and a lot of other people we know are doing it to try to get the word out to kind of change that narrative.
Yeah. Definitely the narrative needs to change. And it's interesting how this comes together, how it comes together with the organizations that do the procurement of the organs, how these companies like Donate Life and these organizations are connected, and then how the living kidney donors are connected where they had never been connected before either. I mean, the whole process is just amazing, and
it is.
And again, it can get better, and and it can get more streamlined, and it's not perfect. But I'll tell you what, we need to be discussing and talking about the Paired Exchange program a whole lot more frequently than we do right now. I got to tell you that. I mean, seriously.
Well, maybe next time we do this, like, I'll do a little research or whatever, and we can do a show completely on the Paired Exchange program.
Yeah,
because I don't know as much about it as I'd like to.
Yeah.
And so I'll try to do a little research. That way
That's
we can
a great
kind
topic.
of have a conversation, because I think that's something that not enough people are talking about.
Right. It needs to be talked about, and then just alone, the misconceptions or myths about becoming a living kidney donor. Let's tackle that next week, bro. I think that's a great topic.
That sounds good to me. That sounds awesome.
Sounds awesome. Very cool. Well, coming kind of at to the end a little bit here, and I don't want to. You've got your show you're going to be doing, so I don't want to keep you too much longer. But again, I appreciate you coming on this page with me here and discussing this, so that we can kind of give her more exposure and also educate people about what is going on in the community. I appreciate your time, brother. Seriously, thank you very much.
Oh no, certainly. I enjoyed having me. I'm sure I'll see you guys. I'll see you next week. Hopefully we'll do something else on the Paired Exchange program.
Let's do it. Let's talk about that next week, brother. I'm excited.
Sounds good, Jared.
I've got a little bit of information or education on that already, and then we can both kind of do some homework, and we can discuss it and get this going again. Thank you.
Sounds good. Have a great night.
All right, you too, Kenneth. Thank you again.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. And if this is a replay, thanks for watching this and replaying it. If it is a replay, please comment below that it's a replay. And comment below if you have had maybe a friend or a relative, or maybe just some acquaintance in the kidney disease community that has been involved with the Paired Exchange program. That's a topic that he and I are going to discuss in more detail next week, and I'm excited to do that. Comment below where you're from, too. Maybe I'd like to find out if maybe we've reached somebody that maybe isn't from Indiana, that maybe I haven't, gotten to know at all, and I'd like to get to know you if I haven't heard from you yet. But anyway, thank you for replaying it, and thanks for watching it live if you watched it live. Again, thanks for following Naisha Needs a Kidney. All right? If you haven't already, please buy one of her T-shirts. Okay? It goes to, of course, a good cause for her, and you can get in touch with LaFresh Henderson, and she can help you with that. Thanks for watching again. Have a good evening. Peace. I'm out.